Welcome to the deep dive. So, you've sent over some really interesting stuff, this ebook from Wolverine Solutions Group, all about automotive recall management.
Hmm.
It looks like you're aiming to really get a handle on what makes this whole process tick, especially, when you bring a specialist partner in.
Yeah, definitely.
So, our mission today really is to dig into the core insights from Wolverine's viewpoint. How do they manage these recalls effectively, and how does their expertise actually help the car manufacturers?
Absolutely. And, automotive recalls, they're not just routine admin. They are really high stakes. Getting it right, and importantly, getting it right fast, it's just critical.
Right.
And what really jumps out from this ebook right away is how much Wolverine emphasizes, well, deep experience, specifically experience with automotive OEMs.
Okay, so let's unpack that experience. It's got to be more than just like knowing how to mail things out, right?
Yeah.
Why is it so important to have a partner who's actually worked closely with car companies before?
Exactly. The ebook is pretty clear on this. With every recall, you've got public safety hanging in the balance, and frankly, the manufacturer's whole reputation.
Yeah, huge stakes.
So a partner who really gets the automotive world, they understand the specific regulations, which are complex. They get the absolutely critical timing involved, and the sensitivity needed when you talk to customers about potential safety problems.
Hmm.
They're not just, learning as they go when things are critical.
Right, they've been there before. And Wolverine seems to position themselves as having this deep understanding. The ebook mentions a comprehensive strategy starting way before the recall even happens, like risk assessment and planning. What does that actually involve?
Well, what's interesting is that they're not just waiting for a recall announcement to react. Their strategy actually starts much earlier. They're looking at potential risks, the whole scope, trying to build a really targeted plan from the get-go.
Proactive, then.
Exactly. That kind of planning can make the whole thing run, well, a lot smoother. And they really hammer home their regulatory expertise. We know in regulated industries like automotive or even, say, healthcare compliance, that's just table stakes. It's non-negotiable.
For sure. Keeping up with all those rules must be a constant challenge. And it looks like Wolverine also focuses hard on the actual communication, getting those notifications out fast.
Precisely. They talk a lot about timely notifications using, advanced logistics, better communication tech. It's not just about speed for speed's sake. It's about reaching the owners quickly to cut down any potential risk.
Okay.
And the flexibility they mentioned using letters, postcards, even digital channels, that seems key to actually connecting with everyone, however they prefer to get information.
That makes total sense. Meet people where they are. Now, another thing Wolverine mentions is seamless onboarding and implementation. Sounds like making sure their systems and the manufacturer's systems, well, play nicely together.
That's a really critical point, yeah. For things to run efficiently, that integration between the OEM's internal stuff and the service provider's platform has to be smooth. Wolverine actually breaks it down into like 3 core bits: system integration and data management, clear timelines and project management, and then training and support.
Okay, let's dig into the data part a bit more. We all know how vital good data is, especially when you're dealing with something as serious as a vehicle recall.
Yeah, and what's quite striking is the detail they go into about their data management. They really stress accuracy and smooth integration with the OEM systems. They talk about using advanced IT, really strong cybersecurity to handle all that sensitive data owner info, VIN zones, the actual issue details securely. This focus on data integrity, it's just foundational.
Absolutely foundational. And it's not just having the data, right? It's using it effectively under pressure within tight deadlines.
It's exactly right. They highlight using sophisticated project management tools. This helps keep every single step on track, avoids delays. That kind of meticulous planning and coordination, super important when recalls are so urgent.
Right.
And they also make a point about providing solid training and ongoing support for the teams involved. Make sure everyone knows the systems, knows the procedures.
Really paints a picture of them thinking about the whole life cycle, not just one piece. And they mentioned being able to tailor things for different OEMs too.
That customization, that flexibility, it's vital. Every car company has its own software, its own ways of doing things, right? So Wolverine being able to adapt their onboarding to fit those specific needs, that makes for a much smoother start and ultimately a better partnership.
Okay, so experience and smooth setup are key. Got it. But recalls. Regulations are always a huge factor. Wolverine points to navigating regulations and data security as another critical piece.
Oh, absolutely. The ebook specifically calls out the NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, and their, well, pretty strict guidelines for recall notifications. Reporting, communication, all of it.
Yeah, you don't want to mess that up.
No. Wolverine emphasizes their deep understanding here, their expertise in meeting all those rules and hitting the deadlines. It's definitely not an area for mistakes.
And with all that sensitive owner data flying around, security must be massive too.
It really is. They detail their security measures, things like advanced encryption, secure storage, really tight access controls. What's also kind of reassuring is they mention doing regular audits.
Okay.
These audits check that they're sticking to NHTSA guidelines and help them spot areas to improve. Their whole approach seems quite proactive, updating systems, ongoing training, trying to stay ahead of regulatory changes and best practices. That feels like a significant differentiator.
Yeah, it shows they're planning for the future, not just meeting today's minimums.
Hmm.
Now, what about unexpected problems, like a natural disaster or something? The ebook mentions ensuring uninterrupted operations.
Right, this really gets into their resilience, their backup plans. They stress how critical disaster recovery and business continuity plans are. So recall management can keep going even if something disrupts their main operations.
Makes sense. What do they actually do?
Well, they talk about using advanced virtualization technology, and they state a goal of a 4-hour system recovery window, which is actually pretty impressive.
4 hours. Wow.
Yeah, think of it like having a complete digital copy of their system ready to switch on almost instantly if the main one goes down. It minimizes that disruption.
That sounds incredibly fast. Minimizing delays is obviously crucial.
It really does. Shows a serious investment in keeping things running. They also talk about how robust and flexible their overall business continuity strategies are, and importantly, that they test these plans regularly, like under simulated real-world conditions.
Practice runs.
Exactly. And they mentioned their trained staff and regular drills are a big part of being prepared too.
So they're definitely planning for potential problems, not just hoping they don't happen. Okay, another critical thing with recalls is always speed. Wolverine talks about meeting critical timelines.
Yes, and they bring up SLA's service level agreements. These basically spell out their commitments for processing and sending out recall notices. Their guarantee to hit these pretty tight time frames, backed up by their big, high-volume facilities. That's a key sign of their capacity and efficiency.
So the SLAs provide some certainty for the manufacturer.
Exactly. It's accountability, a clear benchmark for performance, reduces uncertainty, potential arguments down the line.
And it sounds like these SLAs aren't just rigid, set-in-stone things. They mention flexibility and scalability, too.
That's right. Whether it's a small, targeted recall or a massive campaign, their SLAs are apparently designed to adapt. They also use advanced monitoring systems, tracking progress, allowing for real-time tweaks, providing client reports, all essential for making sure those deadlines get met consistently. And their commitment to always improving, regularly reviewing the SLAs based on tech changes and client feedback, that shows they're actively trying to stay efficient.
Now, getting the word out fast is one thing, but it has to be accurate. The ebook has a whole section on precision and accuracy in communication.
And for very good reason, right?
Mm.
Mistakes in recall mailings that can cause huge confusion,
Yeah.
lead to non-compliance, even put people at risk.
Definitely.
So Wolverine details their processes for ensuring accuracy. Starts with advanced data management, keeping info up to date, formatted correctly, then multiple quality checks, both automated systems and actual people looking things over. That's crucial for catching errors before they go out the door.
Like layers of safety nets. And they also mention the actual physical production.
They do. Using modern printing and mailing gear helps keep quality consistent, even with huge volumes. Plus, they do inspections after production, testing samples. It's another layer of quality control. And the fact they keep a strict audit trail for every mailing, that gives transparency, accountability, which, again, is so important for proving compliance.
Absolutely. You need that paper trail or digital trail, I guess, which leads nicely into their next point, visibility and control.
Yeah, this is about empowering the manufacturers, giving them the info they need. Wolverine systems apparently offer really comprehensive visibility, like into every stage of the recall. They generate detailed reports on, well, everything. Notices printed, mailed, even responses received.
So manufacturers aren't flying blind?
Not at all. This real-time data helps them see how effective the campaign is, make adjustments if needed. They also mention using advanced mail tracking tech, following the notification through the postal system right to the customer.
Wow, that detailed.
Seems so. And clients can access these systems through secure portals, see real-time dashboards. That enhances their control, makes collaboration easier.
That transparency must be incredibly valuable. Now, beyond just meeting the basic rules, Wolverine also talks about a commitment to standards. What does that involve?
This really signals their dedication to, industry best practices.
Hmm.
They highlight their SOC2 certification. That's a big deal. It signals high standards for data security and process integrity.
SOC2.
And the ebook explains that keeping certifications like SOC2 isn't a one-off. It means regular, tough audits by independent groups. They check everything: data handling, security, disaster recovery, the works.
So it's an ongoing thing, proving they meet those high standards.
Exactly. And for clients, these certifications provide assurance. Assurance that their sensitive recall data is protected, that Wolverine's operations are reliable. And again, they mention continuous improvement, updated training, process reviews reinforcing that commitment.
Okay, making sure the notices actually get there is obviously crucial. The ebook covers ensuring receipt of critical information.
Right. This is where the communication process really lands. Wolverine uses various USPS services, things like the Intelligent Mail Barcode or IMB, certified mail, return receipts. These give detailed tracking and, importantly, delivery confirmation.
Proof of delivery.
Precisely. And they also integrate digital delivery confirmations now, which is a good modern touch.
And all that tracking data, it's not just collected for the sake of it, right? It has a purpose.
Absolutely. That data is crucial for compliance, for audits, and just for being transparent with clients. Their reporting systems pull all this tracking data together, which helps clients see how well campaigns performed and, maybe find ways to improve next time. It's about learning and refining.
Makes sense. Now, recalls can be tiny or absolutely huge. Wolverine addresses scalability for any situation. How do they handle, like, massive recalls?
Well, they state their infrastructure can handle over 2 million completed mail pieces a day. That's a lot.
2 million a day. Wow.
Yeah, it demonstrates serious scalability. They emphasize that planning for capacity, building scalable infrastructure that's central to their strategy. They've invested in the tech, the flexible processes to handle those big spikes in volume that can happen with major recalls.
So they're built for the peaks, not just the average day. Seems like it. And it's not just about volume. Cost is always a factor. They have a section on smart and cost-effective mailing. They mention strong partnerships with postal services, helping them get discounts, explore different follow-up methods, and they're committed to making sure the mail piece design itself meets all the NHTSA and USPS rules that helps optimize postage costs too.
Little things add up.
For sure. They even mentioned taking part in annual USPS promotions for extra savings. What's interesting is how they link these savings back to potentially getting higher completion rates, because saving money lets them do more frequent follow-ups if needed.
That's a smart connection. Investing strategically leads to better outcomes.
Yeah.
Okay, finally, the ebook talks about customized approaches for unique recalls. So not every recall gets the exact same treatment.
Exactly. Different safety recalls might need different fixes, different communication strategies, so flexibility is key. Wolverine talks about having a range of innovative campaign strategies they can tailor to fit what each OEM needs while still being fast and compliant.
Can you give an example? Yeah, they mentioned using things like special VEHCI labels, that's Vehicle Emission Control Information labels. In some cases, sending that label might mean the owner doesn't even need to go to the dealership. That saves the manufacturer money and boosts completion rates.
Oh, interesting. Doing the fix at home, basically.
Kind of, yeah, for certain types of recalls. They also offer things like certified mail or overnight delivery for really critical stuff, and even sending supplemental materials directly to customers for at-home compliance when that's possible.
It really shows there's a lot of strategic thinking involved, way beyond just stuffing envelopes.
It really does. It underlines their expertise in crafting solutions that are not just compliant, but also effective and cost-efficient for whatever the specific recall demands.
Well, this deep dive into the Wolverine Solutions Group ebook it's certainly given us a much clearer picture of what goes into effective automotive recall management. It's pretty obvious that deep experience, careful planning, knowing the regulations inside out, having robust systems, and a real focus on accuracy and efficiency, these are all absolutely critical.
Absolutely. What really comes through is their incredibly detailed approach. They seem to cover every single stage, from the initial risk assessment right through to confirming delivery and reporting back. They're not just saying what they do, but also how they do it, and crucially, why it matters for the car manufacturers trying to navigate this really complex, highly regulated area.
So for you, our listener, who shared this material, maybe think about the flip side. What are the potential implications of partnering with someone who doesn't have this level of deep experience or maybe doesn't take such a comprehensive approach to recalls? What risks could pop up? Thinking about, customer safety, meeting those strict compliance rules, and ultimately the health and reputation of your brand, it's definitely worth considering the long-term value of investing in a really solid, reliable recall management strategy. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.